Will Weissman about the program next year in Los Angeles, and part of my conversation was, number one, I think one of the women had an idea of, can we create a kids track as well? I think it's a great idea, right? Sort of like maybe 10, 11, 12 to 17. Please. Conscious parenting, well, exponential parenting maybe. But I love that idea of having a kids track. I don't think kids get enough of this kind of conversation right now. They get such a rote traditional education, and the challenge is, I think the disenfranchisement is more even to women than boys, because I think just expectations. And so we've run an experiment like this at Singularity University before with small groups of high school students, and it's really transformative. The second thing I got excited, I was telling Will about, I said, let's create next year, in addition to these tracks here, why don't we create rooms that are future of food, future of governance, future of energy, future of the grand challenges, and then have everybody who's passionate about that area get together and talk about what are the problems or what are the technologies, and have those rooms vote up ideas, and then go to the main stage and report back on their ideas and what people want to do. So we use this as a means for people to bring their ideas to the table and take action. I'm all about the idea of how do we not, I want to get people away from the conversation about complaining about problems to solving problems. If people realize, if we all realize, including myself, realize how empowered we are, then we stop being sort of victims to an issue and start becoming powerful. I mean, that woman who's our closing speaker from Hong Kong is a perfect example. Questions, comments, anything? Please.
A360 has been purchased by SU.
Yes.
And we're worried that maybe some of the intimacy of your devotion to us might be diluted.
So great question. The question was, Abundance 360 and Abundance Digital have become part of the SU ecosystem. Is my intimacy with the group going to be diluted? No, in the following way. You're going to still see and get as much of me, the live monthly webinars, these conversations, the A360, the physical event in LA is not going to increase in size beyond it is. It's committed to that size. It will stay that size. If anything, what I've done, it's like slowly drifting away. What I've done is I've actually I was growing towards doing A360 in Dubai, in Brazil, and in China, and we've decided to take the energy I was devoting there and to pump it into the digital platform instead. So one of the things that I'm doing right now that I'm super excited about, and you'll learn more about, can I talk about the filming I did with Ramez? Yeah. So we're going to be creating a whole bunch of content that I'm really excited about and I'm really proud of. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing in the incredible SU faculty that you're hearing here, and I am bringing them on in studio with me, and I am having them give their presentations, but we are slowing it down and making it bite-sized, and I'm on stage with Ramez Nam, for example, talking about energy, and I'm saying, hold it, does this mean this, and what does that mean? And I'm basically trying to turn it from a fire hose into a slow it down, what does it mean, what are the implications, what are the investment opportunities, what are the entrepreneur opportunities, and so forth, right? And in a way that you can digest it at your own rate. So we will have courses of myself and Daniel Kraft on medicine, myself and Avi Reichenthal on digital manufacturing, myself and hopefully Neil Jacobstein on AI, and but slow down and made TED Talk bite-sized, but with a way that it's fun and enjoyable. And one of the things that gives me great passion is making stuff understandable. So how do I take a subject that is
that is difficult, slow it down to the point where I can make it understandable to myself and to others. So, and so that I'm super excited about that. So I've got a new book coming out in January, which all of the digital members. Is that a surprise? So it's interesting, right? So the book is focused on how every industry is changing. So there's a chapter on transportation, right? I just spent a day with the co-founder CTO of Hyperloop in Hyperloop, meeting with them, looking at the technology, getting ready for a webinar we're going to be doing at Hyperloop with Josh. Another segment I spent with a friend of mine who's the head of Uber Elevate, their flying car division. And so we're going to do a deep dive in our digital community around all of these areas. And it's so the book's on the future of transportation, the future of food, the future of energy, the future of healthcare, entertainment, advertising, retail. So every industry, right? Every industry is going to change. I don't think any of us realize how much every industry is going to transform. Parts will be disruptive, other parts will be transformative. If anything, it's filled with opportunity for the person who's willing to look at something a different way. And there are lots of different business opportunities. I can't. Is it working now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. So it's so I'm really excited about that. And my mission in the book is to whet your appetite and seeing it. For the large companies, it's putting them on notice, and for entrepreneurs inside companies or entrepreneurs outside company, it's like, how do you see this? Where is it going? And then I close the book with a segment looking at the future migrations of humanity. So there's a chapter on where we're going in space, which is unfolding very rapidly before us right now in incredible fashion. What's going on with Elon and with Jeff and the work that they're doing, but then there's a dozen other amazing companies below that. The future migrations of us into the virtual world. Right, I want you to imagine there will be a future in which we're spending, instead of time in Facebook or social media, you're in a virtual world because you're meeting up with your friends in this virtual world. You have superpowers in this virtual world. You're only the people you care about, right? So we did an experiment at Abundance Digital. How many folks were part of the experiment on in our Abundance Island? So a few of you, right? So thank you for joining that experiment. I appreciate that. I hope to do more experiments. And it's just a matter of I'm doing the things I'm excited about trying and then sharing it with you, and we'll learn about those things together. But there is a future. I'm clear about it. I've seen it. We're going to do an experiment I want to do probably in Q1 of next year, is with that same kind of an experiment, but in the virtual world. I just have to say,
talk about experiments.
Pause and talk about autonomous cars and autonomous flying vehicles, and I have my venture fund, and I say I will invest in any company that comes and says we've made audio-visual foolproof. You can turn it on instantly, and it will never fail. Yeah, not your fault. Anyway, I had an experience with Philip Rosedale, which was extraordinary. I did it about a year and a quarter ago. Philip was the creator of Second Life, and he has a new company called High Fidelity. And I scanned myself in a Doob booth, which is a digital scan of myself. You can print a 3D version of yourself. And it took a while, and it was kind of difficult, but I got a full body virtual scan. Today, you can do that virtual scan by basically taking a selfie of yourself, and it will create an avatar that looks like you. And you can say, I want to be 6 foot tall, I want to weigh 150 pounds, whatever it is, and the avatar will adjust to your height and weight. But the photo and your hair color, your eye color looks like you. So you can create an avatar yourself very quickly. And then what you do is, in this high fidelity experience, I put on a VR helmet, and Philip put on a VR helmet. I was in LA, and I was in a room about this big, and there was these laser turrets that would follow my body around. What do you remember what they called?
They're beacons.
Beacons. And they were able to identify where my hands were, my body was, and my three-dimensional posture. And my avatar in high fidelity was the position of my limbs, and my body was duplicated in this virtual space because of those beacons. Philip was up in Silicon Valley, not far from here, in actually downtown San Francisco, doing the same thing, and we met in this virtual space, right? So I'm in LA, he's there, we meet in a virtual space, and I see him, he looks like him, I look like me. I was able to go and give him a virtual hug like this, right? But what was amazing was I walked out, he says, go through that door. I'm in a virtual green room, like backstage green room. I go through that door, and I go through the door, I look around the corner, and I was in the Mojave Desert, and there was Spaceship One and the Mojave Mountains over there, and over here was a stage, and in the audience was like 200 people in the audience, and there was a big red dot, like a TED stage, and we walked out, and this feels awfully real to me, because I'm looking at him, we're having a conversation, it feels, from an audio standpoint, extraordinarily real, and I walk out onto the red dot, I'm talking to the audience here, and people are sitting in the audience, and everybody had a different avatar. Some people had like really exotic or crazy avatars, some people look like robots. They chose their avatars, and some people are flying in the sky and floating around over there. And I'm giving a keynote, and behind me the slides are dropping down on large things, and there's a spaceship behind me, and it feels so real to me, right? And I'm still in this VR space, and I'm talking to Philip, and I'm talking to the audience, and people are standing up from their seats and going over to a microphone in the middle and having a conversation with me. And it was an extraordinary, and unlike the Verbella experiment we did where I was speaking like this, in high fidelity, I could use my hands, right? I'm always speaking with, my hands and my body postures and it was an incredible experience. And I did that for an hour, and I remember coming out of that and saying goodbye to Philip, and I took off my goggles, and I was in shock. The most extraordinary thing of that whole experience was how much I forgot where I was, and how much I had believed I was in this virtual world. And when I took over my goggles, it was I remember this green carpet, and 3 people were like, my team was like watching me, and I was like, I literally, it was a disruptive shock to come back to the real world. And that was one of the most powerful experiences of my life last year. And I want to share that because it was a chance to create an event like this in the future where you don't leave home, you're at home with your virtual headset on, and you can move around and meet people and create a friendship, a personal relationship with somebody that you remember. And then you can, take your stuff off, go out to dinner with your kids, and come back, and so there's a very powerful future. We talk about the 6 Ds of digitizing, dematerializing, demonetizing, and democratizing access to products and services. One of the things I would love us to do in the Abundance Digital community eventually is the same thing. How do we digitize an event like this? And how do we dematerialize an event like this, where it's not a physical summit and it's demonetized because it's, a tenth the price of going, and it's democratized because anybody can go from anywhere on the planet. Maybe we have 3 time zones, and so the event takes place,
3
times, right? North and South America, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and Asia, who knows? But for me, that's a super, and I've always thought about, could you make that event such that the experience of going in the virtual world is actually better than the experience of going in the physical world, right? Because it shouldn't just be cheaper and available. It should have added experiential elements, right? So I have much more data transfer, and who knows what it is, but I think that's a vision that I'm super excited about experimenting with Bree and Jerem and the team on in the years ahead. All right, your turn. Questions, subjects, topics, anything, please.
I would like.
If you guys don't mind, tell me